Good morning. Happy Monday. Get myself live on the gram. I got some energy to bring today. Some energy today. See if my Instagram peeps are on. I just gave a notification, so we shall see. Anybody on here watching right now yet on YouTube or Facebook? Let's see. Maybe I should just stop doing these live and just start recording them, but honestly, that's no fun. I like to sometimes have conversation. Good morning. Hello. I see some people hopping on. Holly, Jody, Julie, foreign extract. All right, guys, we are going to be talking a little bit about, I guess I can call it control around food, especially, I don't want to just say this is only relevant to women over 35, but I feel like the older we get, the harder it seems to get as well. And I want to talk about a lot of things that might be changing, that are going on hormonally that could be causing those shifts, along with behavioral things that might be impacting it. But really, this is really for anybody. If you struggle with that, feeling like you are out of control of your food decisions or you're a little bit impulsive with them, I want to be breaking it down today. But how is everybody feeling? Anybody coming off the quarterfinals like I am, having a little bit of that? Well, I think I'm still kind of riding the adrenaline high. I think I'll give it a couple more days and I'll probably have a big adrenaline dump, I'm sure. I haven't. Why does it get harder as we age? Oh, we are going to talk a little bit about that. And it's the stuff that people don't think about. So I hope that you stay on to listen in on this, because it is something that people don't realize that happens as you age, that does make it a little bit harder to practice the same discipline you did when you were younger. A lot of things. So let me just get my show notes popped up here, which, oh God, if you are like me, you have entirely too many tabs open on your computer because you don't want to forget something. But all right, so today what I really want to talk about is, and this was actually, I asked people if they had any ideas for some podcast episodes. So if you guys have specific episodes or specific topics that you want me to do an episode on, I should say, please shoot me a DM. I would love to know that. And I'm not looking at my comments right now. So if you do pop a comment in there, I will take a look at that later. But I am looking at my show notes now. But shoot me a message, because I want to know what you guys want to learn more about. My goal is that I'm encouraging you guys to take action in your life, make changes, and hopefully the things that I'm teaching you are going to hopefully improve your ability to do that, make it easier for you, or make you more motivated to make changes in a little bit of a different way. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about control around food. And I'm not just talking about, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is I see this image of this woman, like she's just like got freaking potato chip crumbs all over her face and chocolate smears. And she's just like, I just overdid it. I just binged and now I've got to like get back on the diet. That could be one scenario, but it's not the only scenario. This can show up just simply in your day to day. Maybe you're somebody who you plan your meals, but you're like, that wasn't enough. And you want to stop, but then you go back in and you grab another handful of XYZ. Or maybe you're cooking and you know you're about to eat dinner, but you still have to have XYZ. And you're like, why did I just do that? It's those impulsive decisions where you feel like you just don't have the control. And there's a lot of feelings, or maybe you just kind of avoid the feelings altogether. Like you just think about it, but don't actually think about it. I want you to understand what's going on physiologically and behaviorally that is happening, especially as I mentioned, as you're aging. So if you are somebody who feels like you know what you have to do, you're trying to be on point, but you just can't seem to stop giving in to the cravings, the urges, or even overeating, this is going to be for you. If it feels like food just tends to pull you and you can't figure out why, no matter your goals matter to you, you know you want them. It's not the whole how bad do you want it. You do want to change, but you can't seem to stick to it. And it seems like you're getting frustrated. Or even maybe at one point something was working, you had control, and now you no longer have it anymore. I want to hopefully give you an understanding of what's going on and give you some specific action steps on it. And I'm going to be honest, guys, today, I really just wanted to talk about quarterfinals. I really just wanted to have a good recap about quarterfinals. And I probably will do that later on this week. But honestly, this is the selfless person in me. I felt very selfish talking to you guys about quarterfinals, but I do have some big takeaways that I think will also help everybody, no matter what your fitness level, whether you are looking at the quarterfinals athletes and the semifinals athletes and the games athletes, like, whoa, that's never going to be me. And you're just going to the regular class, or you're like, man, at one point I would love to do that. Or maybe you're a master's athlete like I am. And it's kind of refreshing to see that you can still play with the big dogs. I don't know, whatever it is. But we're going to save that episode because I have to really still, like I said, I'm still kind of on an adrenaline high, and I've got a lot of thoughts I need to actually write down on paper. So we're going to get into today's episode talking a little bit about food control. All right, so let's talk about what's happening. And I'm going to start with the biggest section that is relevant to those of you guys 35 plus, maybe even 30 plus, but really in that 35 to 45-ish range, maybe 45 to 50-ish range. That's happening is, and even if you're under 30, okay, this can still be relevant if you're a female with a healthy menstrual cycle. But there is some hormonal shifts that are happening in your body that do make it a little bit more difficult to navigate some of the things that are going on from a mental perspective in regards to food. And it is why it is so important for women in this age group to actually take ownership of your nutrition. I will, if I was to ask any of my clients who are 50 plus, if they would have changed one thing that maybe would have changed their experience in their early 40s, late 30s into beyond, or the one thing that they were doing, it would be having control over their food. And that's why I want to explain to you guys what's going on. So with changes in estrogen and progesterone, you are going to see an impact on your appetite. You're going to get cravings for specific foods, some women salty, some women sweet, some women both. You might feel more hungry at certain times of the day, along with the fact that blood sugar regulation can shift because of changes in progesterone and estrogen and how it impacts cortisol and insulin. And what happens is you might be getting more blood sugar lows. There's so many things that can make eating feel urgent. It's like, yeah, you're hungry, but like right now, and hunger is okay, but like right now you need to get something in your system. Like it's that urgent feeling. It becomes more distracting. They call it the food noise. It seems like if you don't eat something, it's not going to go away. And a lot of women see this as like, it's just this, I don't have control. And it's actually your body is taking control. Your hormones are taking control. And learning how to navigate these hormonal shifts is one of the most important things you can do. And understanding how to reach for the right things. And sometimes the right thing is the real thing that your body's craving. Other times it's learning why your body's craving that. Okay. So number one is these hormonal shifts. Number two, and this is a big one. So for my question from, what was his name again? Foreign extract, which is interesting. Do you like sell like, I don't know. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to go back to some of your questions. But why it gets hard as we age. This is another big one is, okay, let's just be really honest here. Between the ages of 35 and 50, okay, that's not usually when your diet history has started. Okay, a lot of us started changing nutrition habits well beyond that or well before that, right? And your diet, your years of dieting have changed how your body and your brain think about food. You've been dieting on and off for years. You've done a lot of maybe low calorie phases, whether you were tracking calories or not. A lot of clean eating things, cutting things out. All of this does lead to more of a focus around food. You've spent years and years and years absorbing information, right? Like your brain, I mean, think about how we learn things. We learn things by repetition, by hearing things over and over again, by studying things, right? You've essentially been a student of dieting for 20 plus years. So all of that stuff does increase your focus on food. Some for the good, right? Some we need to have some focus on food, but some also for the negative. Like your body has been trained to respond a certain way. Periods of time not eating enough lead to you feeling like you need to be able to eat whatever the hell you want and not care, right? It's knowing that there's these foods that you think are off limits and you don't eat them. And so when you do get a chance to eat them, you're going to eat them like it's the last time. Always being on a diet and never allowing yourself to eat a meal that feels satiating means that right now you're likely always building meals with a lower calorie focus and never building meals that are satiating enough to you, leading you to actually consuming more calories in the long run because now you're snacking between your meals. These habits, beliefs are all ingrained in you, and it's where it's not an age related issue. It's a it's a repetition related issue. It's years of experience with this issue. And that really catches up with you as you are entering into your 40s and beyond. Not to mention, you have also been doing these things without any awareness for so many years. You've been eating this way, repeating the same patterns, maybe even going through periods of time cutting, following macros, following plans, following rules, but never actually learning how to just eat naturally, right? Eating naturally with intent. Like there's a difference between, oh God, I could go down the road of intuitive eating. That needs to be, I need to write that down. I need to do a podcast episode on intuitive eating. I'm just going to write this down so I don't forget. Intuitive eating, because that's a whole nother topic. All right. But we need to have intent, but we also need to have intuition. You've been stuck in these patterns, and it's really an important of understanding that the longer you've like adhered to different diets, plans, the more or less intuitive you are with what your body actually needs. And you're operating based off of what it's just your patterns, right? Like, I mean, thinking about it this way, exercise isn't a natural thing, right? Nobody was born saying, I've got to get up and exercise when I'm an adult 5 days a week or 6 days a week, right? That was a habit that we developed. And for some people, it's like their day's not normal unless they've moved their body. For others, it's still a chore, right? What's the difference? It's that has become a natural adaptation to that person, right? So it's understanding that you've been naturally adapting to these patterns and it no longer allows you to feel intuitive with your body. Just like what a person who trains 5 or 6 days a week, over time, they learn when it's time to back off because they're like, man, my body's not responding. Okay. So all of this stuff is important. Here's another big thing. And this all kind of, they're all like, these all kind of, I want to say they feed off of each other, but you were never really taught true awareness without restriction. Like, this is a big thing. The only time most people understand what it looks like to be dialed in on nutrition is when they are intentionally restricting. In fact, if Jody's still watching, Jody is a client of mine. And what's so cool is she is in a phase right now where we're starting to move her from being in a fat loss phase into maintenance. And it should almost feel like I'm not really forcing her to eat less. It's like I'm actually forcing her to be more intuitive, to be a little bit over, and to help her build that autonomy in knowing that like she's making the right decisions based on what her body says. And I'm helping her understand when that is not a natural thing or when she needs to be a little bit more intentional about things. So, but there's just so many years of having awareness only with it being in a restrictive way. You don't have any awareness what that looks like without restriction. So it's always, I'm, really dialed in and disciplined and I'm on this diet plan, or completely irrelevant. I don't even care about food right now. I'm just eating whatever I want and I'm just eating naturally, right? And I know when I'm going to have a client leave me who's going to maintain their results and one that's not. There's a very different scenario with how that person leaves me. So, and it's where every choice becomes like, basically what I want to get out here is that you want to be able to have awareness without restriction. Every food decision shouldn't feel like pressure. Every off-plan moment shouldn't feel like, oh, a failure, because the plan should also fit in times where it's not so rigid. Okay. A lot of women live in this very black or white thinking with nutrition. It's either I'm locked in, or they can't be disciplined when they're just trying to learn how to maintain, when maintenance is the most important part of this. Okay. All right, let's go into the next one. And this is another big one that changes. I don't want to say it changes because there are these pressures as well in your earlier part of life, but they start to come from a lot of different areas as you age. Okay. So there is a lot of social pressure in this phase of your life with food. So yes, in your, teens and your 20s, yeah, there's a lot of social pressure because you're obviously building relationships, and that's usually going to revolve around going to the movies and having popcorn and going out to eat and doing drinks and socializing in bars and all that stuff, right? Well, as you are aging, you still have that stuff. Maybe you have more responsibilities though too. And now you have not just the social meals, it's okay, now I have business meals and I have kids' birthday parties and I have, travel trips that I have to take my family to. And, there's so many other things and pressures to now. And let's just be quite honest, like if you are somebody who is trying to take yourself seriously and improve your health and live a healthy lifestyle, there's a lot of social pressure that makes that feel very unnatural or out of place or out of line, when in reality, like stepping out of line is what makes you better. It makes you different, right? I saw a really cool Instagram reel or carousel yesterday, and it was talking about the power of stepping out of line, and it just showed like a bunch of lines, and like that one person standing out was like, is that you stand out, right? Like that could be seen as like, oh, a negative, but it can also be a freaking positive. Like you can be the one person in the room that's like, I'm going to be the fucking leader, right? But it's hard because you're literally having to do something different than everybody else around you, and that doesn't feel natural. Not to mention like your busy schedule, the social pressure there. It's like, oh, we're busy, we're just going to grab Chick-fil-A, we're going to grab this, we're going to grab that, so it's just really, really hard for you to realize that temptation is everywhere, and convenience is what we're looking for, and the social expectations to just do what everybody else is doing is higher than ever, because now you're living not just for yourself, for other people as well. Okay. Now let's get into some more of the nitty gritties. And this is a common one, and honestly can make all of these so much better and so much easier. Even the fact that your lack of control around food could very easily just be a symptom of this. Okay. All of the women, I'm sorry, I just spilled coffee on me and I'm like trying to get it off of my face so it's not showing up here. Um, a lot of the women that come to me have been under eating for years. And maybe not every single day, but they spend multiple days throughout the week, multiple months throughout the year in under eating phases, or not prioritizing eating enough in their day because they're too busy, right? I see it all of the time. And it usually amplifies hunger, amplifies cravings, and it makes it that much harder for you to have any control around food. When did I experienced this yesterday. Yesterday was the perfect example of this. And I don't do this to myself very often. I had to I wanted to redo one of the quarterfinals workouts. And I also wanted to go to church for Palm Sunday. So, but I thought I was going to have time between that and church to stop at my house and grab something to eat. And I didn't. So I went to the gym, hit the workout, and then got in my car and drove right to church. So like I was at the gym by like 10:30 or 11. By the time I got to church, it was like 12:30, and church was at 1. Church service was done at like 2:15. Hung out for a little bit. By the time I got home, it was almost 3 o'clock. I was starving. I was so effing hungry. And that would have been an experience where if I didn't have any willpower or discipline, like the donuts at church probably would have been calling me before I left. I would have like just grabbed something randomly out of my cupboard until what I was making or preparing would have been done. But I didn't do that. I just stuck to the plan, right? But that's where like when you're under eating, it's not just under eating like from a calorie perspective on an overall day. It's periods of time like that. My overall calorie intake yesterday was fine, but that period of time I went without eating could have caused me to just start eating too much, right? So it's knowing that you're fighting your body when you're never feeding yourself enough. And sometimes it's where building bigger meals is important. Okay. And this is the last one. And I'm still talking about the whys. I haven't even gotten to how we're going to fix it. Okay. The more you try and fight it, the worse it feels. Like 100%. The more you try and tell yourself, I'm just going to work harder, I'm just going to be more disciplined, I'm just going to do this, it normally feels harder and you end up burning out. Like I see this all the time. It's why you're like, why I was able to stick to that for 6 months and now I can't stick to it for 6 days. Like that happens, right? Like that's because your body has adapted, right? So it's really important for you to realize that the more you fight it, the harder it is going to get. The more you restrict, it's going to increase your desire to eat more. And avoidance of the thing, avoiding it, is just as bad, because you need to recognize the pattern and learn how to fix it. And that normally comes with that awareness without restriction. And that's what we're gonna shift into now. We're gonna shift into what to do instead. Okay. And I didn't talk specifically about this, but I'm gonna add one more before I go into this. Is there is also obviously an emotional stress response that will create the desire for food. And I want to talk about this one too, because I don't want to leave you out of the situation. I didn't write this down on here, but this is a big one. This just goes into a whole nother category of using food for comfort. So a lot of people reach for food for comfort. In fact, I have a client who, she has trained herself to know that around her period, she deserves more calories because it's her period. Like, that's a comfort thing. Or somebody who I know is like, oh, I was more stressed and that food just felt like it was going to make me feel better. And I asked her, like, did you feel any better after eating it? No, she didn't. It felt good in the moment, but not afterwards. The stress was still there. Food for comfort is another big thing, but that's a whole nother animal. But one that still, I think that by doing these things might help you. All right. And we're going to talk about that as we get going. So first and foremost, let's talk about what to do. We need structure. Okay. So I think that there is a school of camp with nutrition is like, oh, we don't need food rules. Like, no, we need rules. We need to have some rules. Rules don't have to always be about what you can't do, though. It can be about what you need to do, right? So, like rules in life, right? Like, I get up and go to work, right? That's a rule in work or in life. You can't just like not go to work. You can have the same things with your nutrition. It's not the rules that you're thinking of: no sugar, no dairy, no grains, no eating after 6 p.m. I'm going to sneeze. Bless me. It's building structure into your day. Okay, I eat 5 times a day. I eat 6 times a day. You know, like, it's trying to stick to a routine, consistent meal structure, balancing your plate. It's not about I can't have these things. It's okay, where does this fit in the balance of where I'm at right now with my goals and my life? And it also will allow your body to build predictable eating patterns. So if you know that your body wakes up and like it's going to have breakfast within an hour, guess what? You're going to start to get hunger cues then. And you'll be able to go, you'll know when your next meal is, you'll be more productive outside of that, you know, in between those times. And then your body will start giving you cues. Hey, it's time to eat again. You'll start to get more predictable eating patterns, and that will help you in creating stability. Okay. The next one is learning how to build awareness without going to extremes. Okay, so this is a hard one because a lot of people only know how to be in a deficit. The first phase of my program is always getting my clients to just keep a food audit. Like, for 7 days, I truly want them just to be aware of their eating patterns, giving me an understanding of what their day-to-day looks like, what times of days they're eating, what their meal components look like, where they might have food-related issues, where they're lacking balance. I want to kind of see what their body naturally gravitates for and start asking, like, am I actually hungry or am I just craving something? What's going to satisfy me right now? Not what I should or shouldn't be having. And what does enough feel like? And this is a big one for people that have been stuck in the world of eating by numbers. Is they're always portioning, or even not by numbers, but like they look at a package like that should be a portion. Well, who dictates that? Like, what is your body asking you for? In fact, I can take y'all way back when I was dealing with anorexia, and I knew all of the right things. I was a professional. I was a nutritionist back then. And I knew all the right things. I just couldn't get myself to do it. And I remember saying this in treatment because I'm going to be honest, eating disorder treatment is so fucked up. Their thoughts around relationship with food is like, let's do food exposures, right? And they would like put 2 Oreos in front of me and like tell me to eat them and talk about my feelings. And I'm like, yo, I don't want you to tell me to eat more Oreos. I want somebody to tell me it's okay to add another 2 ounces of chicken on my plate. Like it's knowing what actually looks like enough. And that's where not being so much by numbers is important. Okay. This is a skill. It's not something that you just learn because unfortunately, we are so exposed to so many different nutrition beliefs and it's changed how we naturally intuitively eat. So we need to know what it looks like to have enough for us. I have a huge appetite. I have other females that are same age group, same height, weight, similar, and they don't have nearly the appetite as me. They can eat more dense foods. I can't do that. I like more volume on my plate. It makes me feel more satiated. Okay, so this goes into number 3, which is eating enough. Okay, listen, at some point, you have to realize that what you're doing isn't working. And I know you're afraid of eating too much, but not eating enough is keeping you stuck. You're losing the fat loss battle by trying to continue to undereat. So the goal is that you should be trying to focus on eating as much as possible while progressing. But you keep just allowing yourself to, or keep just going back into the deficit calories without actually even knowing what it looks like to be optimal. You're rushing your journey because you want to see fat loss progress today. And that's why you're stuck. My coffee's almost gone. All right. Next one. Along with eating enough, we have to normalize eating all foods. Now, I will be honest, okay? I am team more whole foods than processed foods because I know that more processed foods and hyper palatable foods are a lot easier to overconsume calories when we're not aware. I could easily put down an 800 calorie cookie from Crumble, and not even think twice about it, right? But the more you normalize having those things occasionally within your normal week, it's gonna make you feel like less excited for it. It's like, oh, that was okay, not a big deal. The less control food has over you. When you tell yourself you can't have something, you want it even more. It's just human nature. It's like you have the 2 kids, right? And you ask one of them if they want something and they say no. So you give it to the other one, the other kid's playing with it. Now the kid that you didn't want it, now he wants it. It's the same thing. That's just the way our brain works. Okay. All right. Next one. And this is a big one. For those of you guys that struggle with that impulsive eating decision, and you're like, I'm just grabbing something while I'm cooking, or I finished my meal and I'm still hungry, or it's not time to eat yet and it's in between my meals and my snacks and I'm just popping something in my mouth. Or maybe you're like having that moment of like weakness and you're feeling like you can't stop eating. Okay. It's time to learn how to pause. Okay. Y'all are very good at being hungry when you are focused, right? If it's like day 1 of your deficit, you can be okay with hunger, right? You need to be okay with sitting with that same feeling in those situations where you're being impulsive and using that willpower that you use when you're in that focused phase in times when, okay, this isn't so restrictive, but I am going to practice being focused right now. Okay. This creates a space between the urge to do something and what you're actually going to do. So when you're eating enough and you're having a balance, you have a balance to your fat loss strategy, this becomes a lot easier for you to apply because you're not so hungry all the time. All right. So learning how to pause and be intentional. In fact, I've given this to some of my clients that struggle with binging. It's like, hey, I'm not telling you that you can't give in, but I want you to give yourself 10 minutes, 10 minutes to do something else, distract yourself, and then go back and see if you still want the thing. Because sometimes all they need is a little bit of space to think, do they actually really want it? Sometimes learning how to sit with something makes the feeling pass. And then the final one is just learning how to zoom out, right? It's really not so much about one day, one little thing. It's the compounding actions. And if you're somebody stuck in the cycle of impulsive eating, yes, that is something that's a habit that we need to break. But we need to zoom out and recognize that if you're learning how to retrain your brain, you're probably still going to have some of those periods of time where that happens. That's okay. It's knowing that one meal doesn't matter. It's learning how to stack the repetitions in favor of the person that you are trying to become, which is right now, I'm trying to become somebody who doesn't react so impulsively whenever I have a hunger cue. I'm learning how to listen to what my body's asking. Sometimes that does mean feeding your body. Other times it might be saying, okay, like, let me sit with this for a second and see if I'm actually hungry. All right. So one of the main things I want you guys to realize, I'm just going to kind of close up, is that What you're experiencing is literally just years and years and years of built up behaviors and patterns, along with responding to the changes in your physiology as your hormones are changing as you age. The more you try and stay disciplined by calorie control in a restrictive way, the louder these thoughts become. And it's why it's important to know when you have a maintenance plan that fat loss, if that's your goal right now, and that's why you're trying to dial things in, should become simple strategic changes off of that maintenance plan to make it easier for you to just save a little bit on the calories. This way, you can actually stay consistent long term. And when you're shifting into maintenance, it's about small strategic little changes that we're going to add back in. Okay. So the goal is to teach you guys to learn to work with your body, not constantly fighting it. So I'm going to open up my comments here. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or anything else that maybe I didn't cover today on today's topic? Good morning, Craig. I saw you on here. All right. Well, I am going to hop off. If y'all need anything, let me know. I will talk to y'all soon.